What's up, PokerStaples channel? How you guys doing? It's been a long time. I know. I'm sorry. What's been going on? I didn't even update you. I'm such a bad YouTuber, but I'm gonna get better. I promise. If you're interested in how, check out my vlogging channel. There's a link down below. I've talked about it recently. I feel like I'm back. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fire. We're gonna kill the game, okay? But what I wanna do, what this video is about is my EPT Main Event, my European Poker Tour Malta Main Event. And spoilers, I played 4 hands. No, not 4 levels. Not like I raised 4 hands, like I sat down and 4 hands later, I was standing up and leaving. I was really kind of disappointed, you guys, because I hyped it up so much to the audience, and I was just like, I was really pumped up to play the event and like run deep. Like I sat down and I was thinking, all right, here we go. Day 1 of like 6. I'm ready, I'm prepared, I feel focused and relaxed. Let's do this. It did not end up that way. So, what are we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about the bust out hand, because I'm curious what you guys think about the hand. I've sort of come to my own conclusions about it, and to be fair, I have asked a lot of people about it, and even some really high stakes pros, some famous pros that were in Malta that have like really good track records in the game. So I've come to my own conclusion, but I'm just gonna sort of leave it blank and let you guys sort of decide what you would do. So, it is my 4th hand in the EPT Main Event. You start with 30,000 chips, and I have Jack under the gun. There's 8 people left to act behind me. So I raise it up to 700. I think this is a mistake in the hand. Part of this was just like me sitting down. It was a hot day. I was still like sweating from walking over to the venue and stuff. So I didn't really think it through enough. I should raise this to 800 or 900, I think, under the gun with 100 big blinds, but I raised to 700. It doesn't really have an effect on the hand anyways. We get a call under the gun +1, who is a guy I played with. You know, he seems good, but I don't really know anything about him. Let's assume he has more chips than me. Under the gun +2, same sort of guy, calls. The cutoff calls. The button calls. We have jacks. Can you see the problem starting to develop here? And then it folds all the way around to the big blind. And the big blind has 5,400 chips. So he has 17 big blinds remaining. And he shoves. So, immediately we have a bit of a dilemma here. And the guy, after he shoves, he's sort of laughing. And he's like, oh, you don't have to worry about me, boys. You know, and everyone at the table is laughing and stuff like that. So, I'm assuming that my jacks are really far ahead of this guy on average. Yes, of course, he still has aces, kings, queens. But he also has things like ace-10, for example. So what I decide to do is I call, and the only reason that I don't shove and I call is because I think under the gun +1 can have hands like aces and kings that they slow played here. So I call. Under the gun +1 folds, under the gun +2 folds, the cutoff folds, and it gets back to the button, who thinks for about 15 seconds and then shoves all in for, he had 45,000 or so. So this is my 4th hand. And this is a little bit of a dilemma, right? So let's go through what sort of hands we think that the button can have here. Now, he is the 4th caller in the hand. This is a really important distinction, right? So getting Jack all in for 100 big blinds usually is not going to be a very good play. This is a little bit different, though, I think, because the big blind shoves 17 big blinds, and he has a ton of hands. So there's dead money in the pot for his shove. And the button was the 4th caller. So they shouldn't have hands like aces, kings, or queens, right? The sorts of hands they can have, or at least I would have in this situation, so I'll base it off like my strategy in this spot would be jacks, 10s, 9s, 8s, like all the pairs, right? But in terms of what could realistically reshove, I think they have jacks, 10s, 9s. I mean, it's not really a great play with 9s, I don't think, but it's possible. And then ace-king is going to squeeze pre-flop, you'd think, as well. Ace-king suited is more likely than ace-king offsuit, because it can maybe call and play a multi-way pot, whereas ace-king offsuit doesn't do as well that way. So ace-king, and then like ace-queen suited, I guess? I don't know. But the problem is, like, their range is capped. That's the fundamental part of this situation. I, being under the gun, can have aces and kings. Them, being the 4th caller, cannot have aces, kings. And you'd think queens. So, I'm in a spot, and I think for about 2 minutes, and I'm just like, I have to call here. Like, I have too big of an edge, I have to call. But there's a problem. And I'm throwing you for a loop. I buried the leap. The button is Eugene Kachalov. the legend, Eugene Kachaloff, has had a lot of live tournament success, is known as sort of a tighter player. I mean, he's not gonna punt off his tournament, right? Like, I don't think Eugene Kachaloff is gonna do this with nines. So that adds a level of complexion. Now what? Does that change our situation, right? I still think it's really almost impossible that Eugene has aces or kings. The only argument could be Eugene saw that the short stack was willing to shove and he was going to call the slow play. But at the same time, why wouldn't he just re-raise before then, knowing that the short stack's going to get it all in? It doesn't really change anything, right? It just puts more money in the pot, giving us better pot odds in early position. So I thought that was pretty unlikely, and I thought about that for about 90 seconds or so, trying to see if like he picked up a read or something. But the way he put in his chips and the logic of it didn't sort of add up enough to make it a fold on my behalf. And to be fair, the people that I talked to, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not gonna explain to you guys what happened. So anyways, that's the situation. What sort of hands can Eugene Kachaloff have here? What do we have to do with jacks? I understand on the outset, you know, if you're thinking about it, it's like getting in 100 big blinds with jacks seems bad, but then again, his range is capped. What do we do, right? So, okay, what I'll do now is you can sort of weigh in on your opinions before I sort of spoil with some other players' opinions and let you guys know what they thought. If you want to make a comment and sort of weigh your thoughts or even just think about it to yourself before you move on, now's the time to pause the video. Okay, we're back. So, I ended up calling. He had queens. And then the short stack had ace-10, and the board ran out dry. So there was no ace or jack, and we were both eliminated. And that was my four hands, and I stood up, and that was it. So I did ask a lot of people about the hands. I don't know, like a lot. A lot. Anyone that would listen, basically. And there was a lot of higher stakes players that I asked. So I asked Tonka P, and Connor, one Connor B1, and Einar Magine, and Ronan. I mean, they all said go with it. Like, you can't really fold jacks there. And they were really surprised to see Eugene had queens. I asked, I think it was Max. There's two people that didn't really give me an answer. Dominic Penka and Max Silver didn't really answer. What's his name? I think James Aikenhead, I believe, said he would go with it. And Russell Thomas, Kitty Quo's boyfriend, if you're unaware, said he would go with it. Yeah, so basically there was only one person that said they wouldn't go with it. That was Danny N113 on Twitter. But of the other, I don't know, 12 people or so that I asked, they said he shouldn't have queens. How can he have queens? You should go for it. That was sort of my main event bust-out hand, and it was really frustrating, obviously, because I was very, very excited to play the event, and I did not get to play the event, really. I mean, I did. I lost 5,000 euros, about 1250 euro a hand. But, you know, I think looking at it objectively in terms of, like, how I think about it, I think I have to go with the jacks. I think if I have tens, it's a pretty easy fold. If I have ace-king, I get it in. If I have aces, kings, queens, you know, I print with aces, kings, and I chop with queens. And, like, that's going to be my strategy under the gun. So, yeah, that was my main event. And that's all she wrote. But lots of poker content coming up, you guys. I am here in New Jersey for the PokerStars Festival. If you want to follow along, you can check out my vlogging channel. There's a link down below this video here, so you can check that out. I don't know if I'll be able to get you any poker content before the end of this festival, because I can't play on PokerStars here in New Jersey, because I don't have a New Jersey account. But when I get back, we're going to get back to the daily highlights and some more interesting content, I think. So, very, very excited. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. You already did that. And we'll see you next time.